All right, welcome back, everybody. On top of the Fed interest rate awakening and the global terror war, tonight's Money Politics message returns to the growing free market populist revolt sparked by the Tea Party movement. Now, this is a revolt that could literally save free market capitalism. Stop the tax hikes, stop the massive spending and borrowing, stop bailout nations, stop government takeovers of healthcare, energy, banks, insurance, car companies, Freddie, Fannie, and all the rest. Stop this madness. And stop left-wing populism with its tax attack and government control of the economy. Now, that's the key point. Many of my friends and other commentators have talked about the left-wing populism to raise tax rates on business and successful people and to re-regulate and control the economy. That is a threat. What I'm suggesting is there is a counter-reformation going on, and that is free market populism from the Tea Party movement. Now, opinion surveys show that free market populism is now crushing leftist populism. How good is that? And I think it's one of the reasons the stock market has done well this year. It's not the only reason, certainly, but it gives me hope for the years ahead in the new decade. The new conservative populism around markets will defeat the left-wing populism, which taxes successful earners and has government control of the economy. But now the question is whether the Republican Party can reinvent itself in the midterm elections to capitalize on the Tea Party free market populist revolt and on the dissatisfaction with President Obama and the Congress's policies. That's a huge question for the GOP. I think the Republicans are slowly moving in the right direction, but it's a big but. And I believe this show, and I have to keep the heat on them every single night, because you know what? Sometimes down through the years, Republicans have their collective head in the sand. And this is no time to beach a good idea. All right, let's discuss this now. Joining me now, we have Craig Shirley. He's the author of the new book, Rendezvous with Destiny. He also serves as president of Shirley and Bannister Public Affairs. We have Kellyanne Conway, president and CEO of the polling company and political strategist and CEO of Burson Marsteller. Wait, we didn't even get your name in, for heaven's sakes. Whoever, it's Mark Penn. Mark, I had your title, but I didn't have your name. Thank you for coming on the show. Mark, I didn't mean to be rude. I want to start with you. What does the polling data look like, A, for the Tea Party movement, and B, for this idea of free market populism against, against the Obama, Reid, Pelosi ideas?
Well, remember, right now, President Obama is hovering around 50%. He's still got extremely strong support. So, if you're a Republican, don't count your chickens before they've hatched. They surely haven't. I think the president remains in pretty strong command here, even through some difficult economic times of the country and of the leadership of the country.
I don't know what that noise is in the background, but maybe somebody could turn the mic off or get the noise fixed.
Tea Party protest, Larry.
Yeah, it should be a Tea Party protest. All right, so Craig Shirley, my Tea Party protester. Look, Craig, these retirements and whatnot, the tide seems to be turning. Almost everybody, Craig, in the business believes that the GOP is going to pick up a bunch of seats, 20, 25 seats at a bare minimum. But I want to ask you, in terms of your political intuition and the polling data, we heard from Mark Penn, regarding the Congress, are the Republicans putting their best foot forward? How real is this movement? That's what I want to know.
No, they're not putting their best foot.
From tea parties to free market populism, is it real, Craig?
It is very real. It's an interesting dynamic, a new dynamic in American politics. The party is not only not putting its best foot forward, it's not even at the starting line. You have a beleaguered national party, but the irony is that the Tea Party people understand what this debate is about. The Democrats know it's about power. The Tea Party movement knows it's about power. And in the middle is the Republican Party. And if this was of mice and men, the Democrats are George and the Republicans are Lenny, and they're clueless right now.
All right, Kellyanne, what do your numbers show? Let's just focus on the Tea Party movement for 1 second, and then I want to go to the midterm elections, what that looks like.
Sure.
Tea Party numbers.
In terms of the Tea Party numbers, what this is a fomenting revolution, really, from the bottom up that's more about conservatism and libertarianism than it is about republicanism. I think that's a very important distinction, Larry, because even if you look at the House members and the Senate members on the Republican side who are on the ascendancy, these are guys and gals who oppose the Bush spending increases and the Obama spending increases. So they've been pure on spending from the beginning. The approval rating, the generic approval rating that Mark Penn cites, is the personal popularity rating. When you look at Obama's measurements across a whole bunch of issues that the Tea Party goers care about, federal deficits, debt, taxes, regulations, small business entrepreneurship being swallowed alive by this administration, all those numbers are precipitously down. In fact, some of the personal metrics for the president will unite the country, not divide it, down 26 points from last December. Inspires confidence, down 12 points from last November. So these are metrics that were always in his favor. And when you look at the Tea Party movement, look, you see a real diversity there of gender. You've got libertarians, independents. Marist asked a great question last month. They asked, has President Obama met your expectations, exceeded them, or fallen below? Among independents, he has fallen below by a majority. That's what's key to Tea Party.
Mark Penn, talk to me about independence and the midterm elections, because one of the things we learned in the Virginia race when McDonnell won, in the New Jersey race when Christie won, the independents have swung dramatically back towards the GOP. And I think in the generic polls, when you look, not just Rasmussen, but if you look at the Pew poll, if you look at the Gallup poll, independents seem to be chagrined. They seem to say, look, President Obama, you ran as a moderate, but you're governing too far to the left, Mark. Do your numbers show that?
Well, look, I think there's no question that there's been some setback with independents, particularly compared to the time when President Obama was inaugurated. But let's put this in perspective. I think there was a lot more deterioration back in the Clinton time than we're seeing now. And the president is right in the middle of his policies. If the economy is turning around, if the economy gets better, tax collections thereby improve, the deficit then gets better. As a chain of events happens that shows success of the president's policies, independents are going to swing back.
I just sort of about 10 ifs there.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
What's your guesstimate right now? I think Charlie Cook is talking about a minimum of 25 seats swinging from Democrats to Republicans. Mark, what's your estimate?
Look, right now, the congressional generic horse race and Real Clear Politics, it's about even. I'm not going to give you an estimate now because it's just too early. I was in 98, I ran the 98 kind of congressional themes. When everybody thought the Democrats were going to lose a lot of seats, we gained seats during that when the election actually ran itself out, even in 98. If this economy swings back, as the market seems to be indicating it will, you're going to look at a very different political picture.
All right,
no
Craig, Shirley, that's
it.
an interesting point. And I happen to think the economy is going to outperform in 2010, particularly with all this Fed stimulus, but also businesses have made the necessary free market adjustments. But, Craig, is that going to wipe away the dissatisfaction with the big government taxing and spending and bailing out?
No, not at all. And as a matter of fact, is that just anecdotal evidence from friends of mine talking around the country in Arizona and Kansas. There's no job growth out there. A little girl who was a research for me on the book just got a temporary job at an income tax preparation company in Topeka. 150 jobs were they interviewed for, and 600 people showed up to interview for those jobs. There's no job creation going on out there right now, and that's part of what's fueling the Tea Party protest.
So what's your best guess? What's your best guess? How many seats? How many seats the GOP pick up in the House?
I don't have a crystal ball. It depends on what the Republican Party does. If the Republican Party understands the power and potency of the Tea Party movement, makes their peace with it, they might be able to actually take back control of the House.
Kellyanne, I'll give you the last word on
28 to 35. We're able to recruit so many candidates. There are 25 Democrats sitting in House seats right now, Larry, that Obama won, but Bush won twice. You've got to be scared if you're those
How about
guys.
the Senate?
The Senate, I'd say at least 4.
So that takes away the Democratic hegemony. That takes away the filibuster. That takes away everything.
Becoming the 60th Senate meant
so gridlock is coming to Washington. Wall Street likes gridlock, by the way. Gridlock is coming.
Wall Street likes gridlock, but this president is locked into, I think, concerns about incompetence, whether it's the TSA. He nominated someone 8 months into his term, and the guy is still languishing because he had problems in his background.
We're going to leave the TSA to another segment. Thank you very much. Craig, Shirley, appreciate it. Kellyanne Conway, Mark Penn, thank you all.